Guess what? I got the chance to play Monster Hunter Wild. You did not.
No, I'm very jealous.
So you're very jealous. I'm going to be just telling you about my experience with this amazing game. And yeah.
Yeah, Capcom had an event showing off some of their Gamescom games.
Yeah.
You have to go to their headquarters and play Monster Hunter Wilds. I was not available. I'm very jealous. I want you to tell me all about it right now.
Yeah, so our journey with this game has been really fun. We obviously saw and got really, really excited about the reveal at TGA's last December, and then we were able to go to Summer Game Fest, and we got invited to see like a theater presentation where I think it was the game's director that was playing the game live, and we both had like such a magical moment, I think, when we saw the actual gameplay where we're like, yes, they have truly taken this game to the next step. They have evolved the series.
A true next-gen game.
Truly next gen. And so I was really excited to play and like feel it and see if that was still my impression. And I'm not gonna like beat around the bush. It is absolutely my impression is like this game plays so next gen, and it just feels like this huge leap forward for the Monster Hunter series, which is one that we love, but a series that is a bit notoriously difficult for like people to jump into sometimes.
True.
Because it's real crunchy in areas, and there's some stuff that is really hard for new players to get used to, but they really have like smoothed out a lot of that stuff and taken this game to a level where it is just like this super seamless, natural experience with you as a hunter, like tracking and hunting these like giant monsters. So I was able to play 2 sort of different demos. I played for about almost 2 hours.
Oh my gosh. I didn't realize it was that much. Wow.
Yeah, which is really cool. And like they had to like wrestle the controller out of my hand because I was actually in the middle of a hunt, and I was like really getting into it, and the timer was like ticking away, and I was like, no! But that's how you like feel about a game like that. You just get so sucked into it. But the first demo that they let us play was this like story demo. And I gotta tell you that I'm not really like a story person when it comes to Monster Hunter games.
Right.
We usually just kind of skip cutscenes or like sort of, and the story has never been like that exciting. Like it's more about like tracking, hunting the monsters with your friends, like getting the cool armor, like that's what you're there for.
Yeah.
So I was like a little skeptical. I'm like, what kind of, like, what are they gonna subject me to this long cutscene? Like, what is the story gonna be? But actually the story is pretty compelling.
Oh.
And I think people have seen a little bit from like the trailers that they have, but they do go into your background a little bit more about like, why are you a hunter? Like, what is the deal with this group of, you know, quote, hunters? And there is a lot more drama and a lot more like character development with the other hunters that you encounter in the story that then you can use them to help you in gameplay as well. So there is some connectivity there. And I thought it was pretty cool. And the cool thing about the story too is they introduced their new mount, which is, I think I'm pronouncing this right, it's called the Sacred. And it's kind of like a chocobo.
It definitely gave me a chocobo
It looks
vibe.
like a chocobo. It is very, very cute. And the sort of the story cinematics of it kind of evolve into you learning to ride this new mount, what you can do on this new mount. And then it kind of throws you into the action of like hunting a monster right away. Like,
so you were playing kind of from like the early parts of the game.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. You probably are in a hunt within the first, before the first 10 minutes. So you're like in a hunt, like figuring out.
Okay.
You're on your mount. You're trying to figure out like what to do. You're trying to rescue this person. It feels very like urgent. And yeah, the story is like really, it gives you a sense of like, oh no, like I need to figure this out like quickly. So it's kind of like a hunter's mindset, I would say. And yeah, you go into this area where, you know, you have to rescue somebody, and you're hunting like a pretty tough monster right away. And it is a tutorial. Like they are telling you like how to use the weapons, how to use your mount, how to jump off your mount. And
what is the weapon you have for that?
you have the basic greatsword for that. Yeah, they have a very dramatic scene of someone like throwing you a weapon
Oh.
while you're on your mount, and you like have this cutscene where you turn around and you just like
I'm just
grab
one hand
it.
catching this 300-pound sword.
Exactly, and then you're like still on your mount,
Yeah.
and it's like, dang, that's so hardcore.
Right.
Monsters are chasing you in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
desert. You know, you're just like, oh, this is like some real stuff. Yeah, so then they're teaching you some other stuff too, like some of the new things that we saw, which is interacting with the environment, like using your little like hook shot thing. I'm calling it a hook shot. I don't think it's called that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about Zelda, but like you're pulling down, you know, rocks and things like that in the environment. You're doing a lot of like mounting and unmounting, which I know is something that you typically are very skeptical. Like, how does a mount work in a game? Is
Yeah.
it going to be more annoying than
just running around.
yeah, than just running around? I'm here to put your worries at ease because this is a good mount.
Oh,
Like,
good.
This is one where you do need it to like scale height. It doesn't have like a double jump or anything like that, but it feels like it can, you know, really like leap over things. And it has a glide, so it's like a Mario Kart glider.
That's neat.
Where like it'll have his wings and you can like glide off
That's
like
nice.
cliffs and stuff.
Yeah.
So it makes the traversing of the terrain really nice. And in battle, like when you're fighting, you can do that thing where you like jump off your mount and like use your
that's
weapon,
always good.
which is always nice. And you can also get on your mount and run away, which is also good because I got myself into some real sticky situations where like, oh no, I'm gonna die. So having that mount to like very quickly get onto and like get away was very helpful. Yeah, so you're like in this hunt right away, you're like learning the basics of hunting again, like how to, you know, take a big monster down. It gives you the option to also do this like SOS beacon. You can call the other characters in the story part of it to come help you. And that's really nice because if you don't have friends to play with, like you might need some help.
It's huge, yeah.
Yeah, so then that was very quick and just like a quick thing where you like send up a beacon and then they show up.
And how long are they there?
They're there to the end of the hunt. So
Oh,
they'll
wow.
They'll follow. Until,
Okay.
And you can dismiss them too. You don't have to use them the whole
But
time.
why would you do that?
I don't know. What if you're like, I'm hardcore. Like I could take them down myself. Or maybe your friend like
This is going to be just like in Elden Ring, the
Yeah.
summons, like, hey,
it's like a summon.
real
Exactly.
gamers with a Z
We
don't
never-
use these.
Won't use these. I was like, I'm using
I
these.
need those.
Yeah. Or like, oh, my friends are available now. Like I can
I see.
get rid of these
Sure.
CPU people
Okay.
and like my
Yeah.
girlfriends will come help me.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you could
yeah.
that could happen. Yeah, but it's very nice and simple to do that. And then the story demo area kind of ends where you like, you know, complete your mission, you take down the big monster, you feel really good about yourself as usual, you do the carving, you're like, I got the stuff, excellent. And they set up like base camp. And the base camp is so nice and like vibrant. Like, you know, you think about like big open worlds where you're exploring stuff and you're like, sometimes it can feel a little bit empty.
Yeah.
And sometimes you feel like there's not a lot of things for you to interact with. This is like the complete opposite of that, where it feels like just a lot is happening. It's very bustling. Lots of different characters for you to interact with. Lots of different vendors for you to, you know, like get buffs from. The food, the cooking of the food. I don't know what they're
Getting with
doing
this
over at
Capcom
Capcom, but
They're
they
eating
are
good.
god level, god
Yeah.
tier with the way the food looks. Because I think all of it was like pre-lunch when we were playing this game, and I was like, ooh, that's a good looking steak.
Meat on the spit. Here we
Yeah,
go.
no, but it was like beautiful, like
Yeah.
glistening, like, oh, it looks so nice. But like those little details make it feel very
Right.
alive, which is nice. And there is also a character that's sort of like I guess like the tutorial, like the woman that's like kind of propelling your journey forward. She's not annoying. I have to tell you that she looks exactly like one of our old coworkers at Nintendo that also worked at Capcom.
Huh?
Our friend Stephanie.
Oh.
Not producer Stephanie, a different Stephanie.
Okay.
But she looks,
Really?
Alma is her name in the game.
Oh.
She looks exactly like Stephanie.
Okay.
And I couldn't believe
Interesting
it.
fact.
And then I asked the people at Capcom, like, hey, do you
Yeah.
guys think that Alma looks like Stephanie? Because she used to work at Capcom.
Yeah.
And she was like, they were like, oh my God. Yeah. But you know,
Nervous laughter.
Stephanie also had palicos named after her.
She worked on Monster Hunter.
At
Okay.
Capcom.
Okay.
So she's a legend at Capcom, and maybe she's immortalized in this Alma character. Because all I could see was Stephanie, which is great because I love Stephanie. So I was like, wow.
Just like
this
I'm
is
immortalized in Pokemon. She's immortalized in Monster Hunter.
It's true.
Yes.
Yeah. You're the professor, and she's like this helpful hunter lady. It's great. but it's very cute. And you know, she kind of helps you along and stuff. And then it definitely has the same like sort of like you have your own little tent and your storage for all your stuff that you collect. You can go into your tent to like change up all your weapons and your armor as usual, customize, you know, all your stuff. You do have a Palico friend right in the beginning.
Of course.
They are introducing a new Palico that's like so cute. It's very furry.
Oh.
It's like a long-haired Palico. It's adorable.
Okay.
We love him.
So the Palicos are still cute because I'm thinking back to
Very cute.
Moogles from
The Moogles got ugly.
Final Fantasy VII, and they just keep them cute, okay?
Yeah. No, they're cuter than
Good.
ever.
Good.
They're wearing
That's important.
cute little armor too, as
Yeah.
usual, and they're very like chatty when they talk to you. They're helpful in battle. They like throw their little bombs and stuff. In the beginning of the game, I was able to select from a couple different character presets, but I'm sure you can customize. And it's like the Capcom character customization, like the Dragon's Dogma type, where it's like extremely detailed. I'm sure.
I'll bet it's using
And then
that.
you can also pick your Palico as well. Like this kind of Palico.
Can you also customize the Palico?
I don't know how much you can. I was able to do. There's a presets of the different Palicos, but maybe you can, then which would be very cute. You can make it look like one of your pets or something,
Right.
which would be cute. So that was really nice, and yeah. So after that, like we jumped into more of a like straight up hunt gameplay, like deeper in the game.
Okay, so this was not like sequentially the next thing
No.
you do. Okay,
so
like
that
boot up a new
that
save.
ended. Boot up
I
a
see.
new save, and this was really interesting because before we even started playing, they were like, "We really want you to understand how to use the environment to your advantage because you'll encounter a lot of stuff." And we did see this a little bit when we were watching the gameplay at Summer Game Fest, how the environment is like so alive. The other thing that kind of goes along with that was really surprising to me, and when I started playing it, it just felt super good, is that like the monsters behave more like monsters. Like for example, monsters are like animals and they probably travel in hordes. You know, there's probably going to be situations where there's not just a lone monster like wandering around. There probably is like an alpha and like the rest of the horde. And that's exactly sort of the challenge that we were encountering, where we're hunting this monster called the Dashiguma, which is like a big kind of bear-like thing. And
is that the one that we saw at Summer Game Fest?
I think so. Yeah.
That reminded me of a bear's then.
Yeah, big giant bear, and basically it's like an alpha, but it had like all these other like smaller, it's still very deadly Dashigumas like with it. So you have to use your like hunter ingenuity to and all of your, you know, your like items and stuff like that to figure out like what to do, because you're gonna get completely mobbed by like 4 or 5
You need to like
these.
isolate the one that you need to get.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically what you have to do, it's like kind of gross, but you basically throw like a dumb bomb. So you throw the poop, okay, and then you make the horde scatter. And then you kind of like track the alpha. But like that aspect of it, just even before the hunt starts, of you like figuring out, you know, how to like begin your quest, like how to like assess the situation, how to use all your like all your, you know, items and different things to help you, is very true to, I think, like a hunter experience.
Yeah, that's cool, because a lot of times, you know, in the other games, it's like, well, I found it and I'm going to run up and start hitting it, versus I need to do a few steps to get it to where I can get to the point of actually starting the fight.
Exactly.
That's
It doesn't
cool.
even say like mission starts until you do all the things that you need to do to like begin. Then it says like quest begins.
Right.
Which is kind of interesting because they do want you to do like the prep work to get to it.
And I'm sure there's like a lot of different things you could have done to get to that point.
Totally. Yeah. There's also like somebody else didn't use that dumb bomb at all. They used this thing where like they made it go through these brambles, and then they like had a net that was in the bramble. They put like a net trap down, and it like trapped the other one, like the smaller ones, in the bramble. And then the alpha like ran off, and they were able to like separate it from the horde. So you have to, you know, kind of think about how you're going to begin these missions, which is good because that's how you're probably supposed to be thinking about it anyway.
Sure.
So once you isolate the alpha, you can get into like a proper, very like satisfying, you know, monster hunter, monster takedown, where, you know, you're like kind of picking at its health. You're doing different things to try to, whittle down the health of this monster. There's some new things. One thing is the monster can have like open wounds. You can actually see like a red gash on its body parts, and then if you attack those, you have a better chance of getting like that item off of the leg or the tail or the head.
Yeah. Okay.
You can also topple them as usual, and then when they fall over, you can do like the big crits and stuff, which is really nice. One other thing that was like a game changer for sure is you can equip a primary and secondary weapon.
Right.
And you can switch to that weapon
great.
like
That's really nice.
in the battle. Like just mount your
So any two weapons you want.
any two.
Wow.
And what they figured out, like I was actually playing with our good friend Super Rad, who does like tons of Monster Hunter content and is like the expert, way more than me at Monster Hunter. And he discovered a fun thing where like if you use the hunting horn as your secondary weapon, you can buff yourself. You can buff
I saw he was really talking up the hunting horn.
You can buff you can have that as a secondary weapon and use it to buff your primary weapon. I was like, that's so freaking
cool,
brilliant.
Because I tried the hunting horn in Rise, and after a lot of people saying like, "Oh, it's amazing," I thought it was okay.
Yeah,
but
you were helpful as a party member.
Right, I would be glad to go back to it though.
Yeah. So you can like switch back and forth now. Like if you wanted to use it to like do the buffs and then go back to like a sword.
Oh, totally.
That would be really fun.
Right.
And I thought that was a great way to utilize the primary and secondary weapons. Like I was so much more boring than he was. I was like dual blades and sword.
Flailing away.
Yeah. I do like the bow gun too, which is a good range weapon.
I've never done a ranged weapon.
But that's a good secondary weapon.
But I've always been curious.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a great way. The secondary,
Yeah.
Something far away and something close up. That seems
one.
like a very good strategy.
Yeah, it's like almost like your Link. You have like two kinds of things,
Right.
So now you can do that, which is amazing, and it makes it so much more like dynamic to hunt with like two.
Yeah, that's huge.
Switchable weapons. And then, then you do the thing where you're like tracking it, through the different areas. But, before, when that would happen, you would like be, every time you leave an area and go to a new one, it would have like a load screen. It would be very like almost jarring. It's like, oh, it ran to like area 4. Like, okay, we gotta like, load screen all the way to area 4.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, there's nothing. It's just an open world. So you're basically just like going and tracking a monster like in the most like natural way possible, and there's nothing to take you out of the action at all, and you're just like easily get on your mount and track it to the next area. You're like kind of following, you can follow its scent to your mount can scent it to the next area.
Oh, how does that work?
Pretty cool. Yeah, it's like a little trail.
It's like a stink waft, like in a cartoon.
I think so. Yeah, basically, it's like a little like scent trail, basically.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So you can use your mount to like help you find the monster, and then it does the thing where it like starts to limp, and you can see signs of like, okay, I'm getting close, which always feels really good. Like, if we're getting there.
Yeah.
That was a tough fight. Like the horde came back at one point, and that was really dangerous, and I was like at barely any health, so I had to run away and scatter the horde again, and then a lightning storm showed up, and that was a whole thing, and your heart is just like going because you get the sense of like it's not predictable, like things are happening around me that's not just fighting this one monster and just like going up and hitting it. Like I got to do all these things, and all these things are changing around me that I have to think on my toes, and that felt really good.
That's great.
It's really fun. And it just felt more real, I guess. And then after you take down the monster, you can carve it like normal. You get all your resources. I did like poke around some of the menus where you can see like the crafting screens and stuff like that. There is a bit of crunchiness there still, where it's like a lot of, Monster Hunter has like some of the most embedded menus ever. There is still some of that.
Yeah.
They did add some like QOL stuff. Like for example, there is a radial dial where you can like quickly heal, quickly get the whetstone to sharpen. That all felt a lot more seamless, because before you were like clicking so many buttons, to like get to the item, and like also trying to run away, and then the monster's knocking you down, and then you die.
Yeah.
So there is some ease of just navigating through all of that, which is nice. After we took down the monster, basically they were like, we can explore and just like look around, and I was like looking at the map, and it was like still had like the numbers, like the zones, but it was not like there was no no actual like border or cutscene. Yeah. So they still kind of kept that.
Wow.
Which is kind of fun and like nostalgic, I guess, for Monster Hunter fans. And yeah, I was just like running around doing stuff. I ran into another monster that I like tried to take down. It like fell into the sand trap, which was another environmental thing.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. We saw that I think in the demo. It's kind of scary in there though because you can get stuck in the sand trap.
Oh.
So it was a lot of like balancing. You know, I need to get back on this mount to like climb out of this thing, and monsters like sinking into the sand trap, and a lot of like, you know, more environmental stuff happening. So
did you see this big new spider enemy that they have in their Gamescom trailer? I'm very frightened of this.
I didn't see it.
I don't think I'm gonna like that.
I don't want to see it. It looks so scary.
I don't like spiders.
Yeah, they did have a couple of new ones.
Yeah.
In there, we did also hunt the I think it's called the Chotacabra, which is a little bit similar to one of the ones that was like in the previous game where it had like a poison and stuff. Yeah. But it had a big, it's like a frog-looking amphibian thing with a big tongue, and it would like lick you. It's really gross. Yeah. But yeah, definitely, you know, want to see if my favorite monsters come back, obviously. You're still traumatized by Arathalos, are you?
I'm gonna get my revenge.
Maybe this is the one.
This is the time.
This is the time. You finally get that final armor set.
When I get it.
Yeah. But all in all, this game is so amazing. I'm so excited for it, and I really, like, after playing it, I can say with 100% certainty that this is truly like a full-on evolution, next-gen Monster Hunter game.
Wow.
And I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I'm glad that your impressions are so good, and it seems like everybody who played it has the same reaction. This is just incredible. Would you say, like, again, we don't know everything for next year, would you say this is like a game of the year front runner based on what we know now?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Because that's the feeling I've had since we saw that demo.
Yeah.
So
we don't know what other games are coming out in 2026, but wait, 2025.
5.
Why do I think it's 2026?
Do not delay this game.
2025 is next year. Wow. Time is a social construct. But yes, I do think like it is a absolute front runner, and I think there's so much more to the game that I haven't seen yet that I'm excited to discover.
I'm sure there's a lot more to show.
So it can only propel it even higher on that list. So.
Amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
Hopefully soon you will get a chance to play this thing because it's so much fun.
My FOMO intensifies.
Oh no. Okay, so that is sort of our first impressions getting hands-on with Monster Hunter Wild. Thank you so much to Capcom for giving us this opportunity to play the game. I love you so much. It was so much fun. Yeah, let us know what you think. Are you excited for the game? Tell us in the comments. We're gonna wrap this up and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.